Hello, Howland Hoover. This is Mr. Hain again. I'm going to be showing you our next project. This one's designed for first grade, but again, anybody can do it. This week I'm going to be showing you how we are going to make this little polar bear dancing on a floating chunk of ice. For this project, I will be using the pencil again. I've switched to a thin Sharpie, but if you only have a thick one or a black Crayola marker, that's totally fine. And then for coloring it, this project I'm using crayons again, but you can also use oil pastels, markers, or watercolors if you want. Alright, let's get started. Alright, when I start this project, I'm going to make sure that my polar bear fills the paper. I don't want him to be teeny tiny or make him massive and then I won't have room for the ice. So I want him to be about this big in general. I'm going to draw lightly at first, so if I need to erase I can. I'm kind of making this simple potato-like shape for the body. Okay, so something roughly like this. Once I have the body drawn, I'm going to start with the eyes. So I like to put those about here and here. But I want to make sure that they are big enough. So I draw my ovals, draw my circles here, leave a little part for the white. Then the ears, I want to make, if you go straight up from the eyes, I'm going to make some ovals here and here, and then small ones on the inside. For the nose, I'm going to make an oval that's longer and flat. It goes between the eyes. Then for his mouth, it comes down. I like to kind of come down at an angle like this, and then kind of back up. So I have his mouth kind of here. Then his body comes down. If you want to make him a little more fur-like, you can kind of make these little zigzag lines in a couple random places so he doesn't look like just a smooth potato out here on the ice. This arm that will start right about where the mouth is, it kind of come down with this oval shape. Goes right back into the body. This arm, I kind of like to have it come out a little bit, almost like he's pointing while he's dancing. The feet, I'm choosing almost an Olaf style. I just kind of come down with this little rounded nub, and this other one is also going to come off here. I could put a line, 3 lines on his hands for his paws, and then in mine I've chosen to draw swim trunks. You don't have to. But if you want to, I thought it was kind of fun to add that. I'm just going to do like this fun floral pattern. So just draw the center circle, a couple floral Hawaiian pattern almost on it. Then for the ice, I am going to start at this leg behind it. Draw a line that comes out. This one kind of comes out past his body a little bit. And then I'm going to make some zigzag lines and connect them. From here I'm going to draw my lines straight down. I kind of make them a little bit wavy and come in a little bit to get a 3D effect of a floating chunk of ice. Then I connect them following the line that's above it. So I connect these, this one back here. For the water, somewhere near this part coming across, I'm going to make my water line. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my ripples of water that are kind of following and almost outlining the ice chunk. Okay. Once that is all drawn, I'm going to take my Sharpie and outline everything. So take this, outline it very carefully, outline those kind of like fur patterns. Come down, do his legs. Remember when I do his eyes, I want to make sure that I leave that center part to look happier for the white. So I fill this in. I would do the same thing for the nose, fill it in. If you want, you can leave a little highlight of white on one side, just to kind of give it a little like shine to it. Take this, outline the fur. This is also a great time if you needed to adjust something, like maybe I feel like I didn't add enough fur. I could just go ahead and add that in right now with my Sharpie and draw right over the pencil lines, because I'm going to go ahead and erase those anyway. So I draw that, connect all these, draw the swim trunks. Now when we go to color it, again, you can use any medium you want to color it with, but the ideas are going to be similar as far as being light and dark. So I outline my ice chunk. I do want to outline the ripples too. A couple of those floating around. Okay, so now I'm ready to color. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I go ahead and erase any of those pencil lines. So like I adjusted his mouth a little bit up here, and that's totally fine. Erase those lines. Okay. For coloring it, we're not worried about a background. If you want to draw one in, you certainly can. But this can be a standalone image. And because I'm leaving this white and he's going to be white, I'm going to make the top of this cerulean blue, and then this part regular blue, and this one like a blue-green. So for those, the first color that I want to choose to work with is my cerulean blue. This is it's like a nice like sky color, light blue. So what I'm going to do is lightly and evenly block in the whole top surface. And then I'm going to use it with more pressure to make the shadow of my polar bear on top of the ice. So I lightly block all this in, nice and even. For the shadow, which is going to be underneath him, I'm just going to apply more pressure with it, with my crayon, and kind of make like a nice oval shape around that area. Okay, and kind of let that be. For the inside chunks of the ice, I'm going to do my standard blue, and I'm going to lightly block in the whole thing, the little section of it first. But now what I'm going to do is just like I did here, the areas that receive less light, which is inside this groove, I'm going to apply more pressure, and I'm going to lighten up as I get further away from there. On this front section, since it doesn't have a groove that's getting less light, I'm going to make my darker section down here at the bottom near the water, and then lighten up as I get higher. Inside now, again lightly, this one has two sections of darkness, so I would go in here with the shadow, again more pressure, circles, lighten up as I come out. This will be darker, lighten up as I come out. This one would be lighter out here. Again, I'm going to make behind this side and the bottom a little bit darker. And here would be darker in there, and then lighter as it comes out. For the water, I'm going to use my blue-green. I'm going to lightly, very lightly again, block in the whole water. Again, coloring in that same direction of the water. And because this is a standalone image, meaning I don't have a background, I don't need to color edge to edge with this. So I'm just kind of giving the idea that it's on the water. So I'm kind of coming down at almost an angle here with my lines. If you want to color it all the way in, you certainly can. Just lightly blocking those in. Now what I want to do, because the water is moving and we have those lines for those ripples, I need to find areas that are going to be dark and some areas that are going to remain lighter. So I block that all in first. So when I think of this, the darker areas I want to put closer to the ice, so I'm doing more pressure. And then this ripple in here, since this one's darker, I'm going to leave this light, but then I'm going to go darker behind it a little bit. You just kind of want to vary that process as you go. Like this is going to be darker floating here. Leave a little white section. Both. This is probably going to be dark coming out from this center. Because that contrast, meaning that dark against that light, gives it that nice little like rise and fall movement of the water. Okay, so my ice is ready. I can look at it if I want to go in and tweak some areas. I think my shadow, I might actually bring a little bit of it a little further out here. I feel like if his arm was kind of creating a shadow over there. Okay. For the bear, if you want to add a little bit of shadow on him, you can use gray. And very lightly, you'd go into the areas that, again, are going to be receiving less light. So this leg probably would be receiving less light. And I would assume that in here would be darker. And so this part of the arm on the inside would be darker. This part of the leg getting lighter, just a little bit. We don't want to go too much gray with it because we want him to still read as a white polar bear. So kind of coloring up here, kind of half his body a little bit. Alright, I would use pink for the end part of his ears, the inner part. Then for his trunks, if I want to use some nice contrasting colors, orange and yellow are going to work well with these blues, because orange is a complementary color, meaning exactly opposite of blue on the color wheel. It's going to stand out really nice and kind of give us some nice color play. So I am going to once again lightly block it all in first. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to this too, just for variety. Just kind of make the lighter areas seem a little bit brighter. Take your time, block it all in. Take my yellow now. I'm just doing just light enough to be visible, kind of in this section that's getting more of the light. Then I'm going to go back with my orange. I'm going to apply more pressure to those areas and to those edges. Give some shadow, maybe down here a little bit too. And lastly, I would color in my floral patterns. And again, to continue with that color contrast, yellow and purple are complementary colors. And so that would just kind of look good against that orangish and yellow color. Just take your time, fill those in. And that would be about it. Okay. There you go. Once it's finished, something we haven't talked about is a lot of times when artists sign their work, they sign it in the bottom left or right. I personally like the bottom right. So I'm going to take my Sharpie, I'm going to write my name down here, and then I'm done. All right, I hope you guys liked it. I'll see you later.